Hey everybody, Mike here with Brutal Blades Workshop, and we're going to go over today a couple of, this is going to be a break from the camp and bowie knife series. We're going to go over sharpening techniques. This is something I think is really important because you see a lot of people who don't know how to sharpen their blades properly, and you get a lot more injury from dull blade than you will a sharp blade. It sounds backwards, but it really is quicker, more effective, and safer to shave, to cut into meat or cut rope or whatever purpose your knife may serve. So I've got several instruments here essential for sharpening. Combination coarse and fine sharpening stone, Arkansas whetstone, a steel, and a strop. Now your Arkansas whetstone will typically be used with water or oil. I've had mine soaking in oil for so long that it's actually still moist. I typically leave them in there for several hours, and that usually leaves enough oil on the stone to where you can get away with using it. Let's go ahead and look at some of the knives you may be using. Typical camp style knife, just something you can use for cutting different things up. Shaving razors, which have to be very sharp. Kitchen knives also. Cheap folding knives. This one I picked up at a gas station for several dollars, but it's actually razor sharp and it holds its edge. So it's a little awkward to use. I'm not gonna lie, it's very awkward to use this. You could slide your hand inside there. I don't know. Very awkward knife. Let's go over the first one. The combination. This is really good if you have a very dull blade or a blade you're putting in a final edge on for the first time. We'll start with this. You'll start on the coarse side, which you can tell by feeling, and you can wet this type or use it dry. I've done both. You want to hold it in line with the bevel, the secondary bevel, which is usually about a 20-degree angle, and slide it against the knife 3 times each way. You could do more or less, and just one on each side and go from there, but this is the way I've found most efficient, is 3 times. The important thing is you match your numbers. You'll feel a little burr on the edge. At that point, wipe off any nastiness. Transfer over to your fine side, your smooth stone. Okay, and that will put a very decent edge on your blade. Obviously it'll make it more than sharp enough to pass the paper cutting test. So for instance, this is just with that stone. You can see more than sharp enough to pass the paper test. Also, now that we're done with this one, I'm not going to fool around with this. This is cheap. It's not really one of my favorite knives. This is a new knife I've just made. Very sharp, very good edge. Let's go ahead and start with this one. Since the edge is already fairly well put on there and pretty good edge already, go ahead and go over the Arkansas whetstone. Now, the nice thing about a whetstone like this, you can use it multiple ways. You can use the technique I just showed you, or you can slide it on its side here and use the narrow surface. And you can feel really quickly, this will refine your edge quite nicely. See how this one does on the paper test already. This one I've already sharpened several times and had brought to a really nice edge. As you can tell, it's razor sharp. Could I take it sharper? Absolutely could. This is where your steels come in. Now there's two schools of thoughts you can go against, or you can go with the edge. It's important you start from the back. I don't care what anybody says. You want to start from the back and work your way out. Keep pulling the knife away from you. Some people say go in. I don't like that. It just doesn't feel right to me. Now you can start from the top or the bottom. Doesn't matter. The important thing is you keep your angles the same. And you'll see chefs doing this stuff all the time. You can use your thumb or index finger as a guide. Once it makes contact, you know you're good. Once it makes contact with your finger, you know you're good. Especially when you've got a nice little sharpening notch on your knife. Now if you were to go with the blade, same principles apply. Make contact with your skin. And you know you're good. See if we made this any sharper. And you'll be able to tell by the resistance the paper puts up. Oh yeah, a little bit sharper. Definitely a very sharp blade. This is one of my favorites I've made. Like I said, works really well, fits comfortably in the handle. Very lightweight, something you could toss in a backpack and just go. Now, the final method of not so much sharpening, but actually honing your blade, bringing your blade up to a really nice optimal sharpness, is something you see quite often in shaving razors, which is the strop. You see this on most blades, but it's most common on your shaving razors. Okay, you've got a cloth strap, rough leather, finished leather, and you'll be able to feel. Now what you'll do is hold the blade in such a way that you can get access to just the very tip of the edge. Okay, you've got that done. I don't know how clear that's coming through, but this has a really nice edge on it already. It came with a okay edge. And then you'll take it after the cloth to the rough leather. Now, there are other schools of thought. There are some people who do the cloth last, and I don't understand that, but there are some who do that. And I mean, whatever puts the finest edge on for you, that's fine. And there's not really much hair because I've been testing this blade repeatedly, but we'll see if we can get something. And you hear it's just popping that. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it very clearly. It's popping hair off my arm. And that's without even taking it to the smooth leather finish side. Now, some people will buff, put a buffing compound on it. I don't. That's just personal choice. Now let's see how this handles the paper test, which is seen as a great indicator of a sharp knife. Obviously it's gonna just obliterate it. There is something that your standard knives, if they're not sharp, won't do very well. And that's take the edge, the tip of this edge, and just barely apply pressure down the side and see how well it cuts that way. This is a lot harder than it looks when you're holding a blade without a point on it. See how we can do with the camp knife. See how sharp it is. See if it will puncture well and do this well. Now remember, you're not wanting to push through, you're wanting to gently cut through. That's why I like this knife. It is just beyond sharp. Holds its edge really well, and it's small enough, it fits in the palm of your hand really well, about the length of your hand. I think this one's like 8 inches overall length, so cuts really well, does everything you could ask of a knife. Of the three, which is my favorite? This one, and that's because I made it. So there is the bias there. This one's, you know, yeah, I like this. This is my favorite razor. One of my favorite shaving razors I've ever owned. I've owned higher quality shaving razors, but this is definitely a very specific use blade. I wouldn't take this out into the field, for instance. Maybe for skinning deer or something you could use this, but why? It's got a beautiful hollow ground edge. Absolutely a joy to use, but it is very specific to its purpose. Believe it or not, I really like this one. It is a cheap piece of junk, and it's very odd. It doesn't fit into your typical knife format. I don't even know who the manufacturer is. There's no manufacturer markings on this thing. So I couldn't tell you who made it, but it's a nice little multi-tool as well. Little cheap screwdriver set on here. You got an overly large flat head. You got a Phillips head and a bottle opener. It's not a bad little tool, and it is a D-ring. It is a functional D-ring for your keys or anything like that. It's not the best fit for a D-ring. It wants to pull more to the one side, and I imagine it has to do with these rivets here, but I'm not going to bother fixing it. So anyways, this is just a quick 15-minute tutorial on how to sharpen your knives. If you guys enjoy these kinds of videos, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/BrutalBladesWorkshop. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, have a nice day.